where you talk about what conscious leadership is, and you talk about this idea of a triune intelligence and 3 pillars of consciousness. Will you speak to that?
Sure. Yeah. So traditions, perhaps we call them wisdom traditions, right, across the globe and across time, have long identified that there are sort of 3 pillars to much of our life. I mean, in Hebraic, Judaic tradition, it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? In Christian tradition, you got the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The Hindus have Krishna, Vishnu, and Brahma. The Taoists have Jin, Shin, and Shen. In Zen tradition, there are sort of mindfulness practices, loving kindness practices, and hara practices, right? There are 3 kind of traditions of practice, and I think that this triune intelligence now in modern medicine, there's actually some very, very clear and compelling, remarkable evidence of actually 3 centers of intelligence. Actually, if we say intelligence, is because we have neural pathways that can communicate, store information, memory, and make decisions. If that's an intelligence, there is the sort of the head brain, the cephalic brain, right, with I think it's 100 billion cells or 100 trillion, I forget right now, but lots of cells. Sometimes they're more fired up than others. There are actual neural cells, brain cells in the heart, and there are neural cells in the gut. As a matter of fact, we have as many neural cells in the gut, almost as many neural cells as a cat has in its brain. That's a lot. So when we talk about a gut sense or a heartfelt or a head, those are sort of 3 centers of intelligence, and the pillars. As I've looked at all these traditions across time and throughout the different places, and have studied them both sort of in an academic way, but also in an experiential way. I've practiced with them. I've seen this kind of triune element that I've come to call wisdom, love, and courage. And I think that the practice of awakening and attuning and aligning these elements of wisdom, love, and courage is the process of sort of raising consciousness. And in particular, as we bring wisdom, love, and courage into our leadership, now we have a way to practice conscious leadership. So it's not one or the other. And I'm sort of at the danger of a beginning of an early soapbox here. What we have really lauded and have prioritized is our wisdom, right? The head tradition, the intellect, the analysis, the capacity for perspective and vision and planning and problem solving. I think our traditions, and particularly more in the progressive movement, folks, and even in many spiritual, religious traditions, awakening the heart and being compassionate has come into being. We haven't actually learned how to bring online the full sense of being rooted into the courage aspect, right? That's sort of the 3rd element as an informing and connecting element of all 3. And so I find that a lot of us are not aligned, and so we can't bring the full presence into our work.